Hi, Honorable. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think it's in order to say congratulations in your new office.
Well, thank you.
Let me begin from here. When the president was swearing you in, he made a statement that he doesn't envy your job because he thinks it's a difficult job. What's running through your mind when he said that?
Well, difficult job it is, and difficult job must be done. The president's job itself is even more difficult because what he has given me to do is part of the job he is supposed to do. So you can imagine if he identifies just a component, a microcosm of what he's supposed to do as being difficult, then his is super difficult. And if he is able to do it, then it means that we those he's considered to perform some other assignment should be ready to face the task. So I'm okay, and it's good for your appointor to identify that your job is really a difficult one. It's one I think he's helped me in defining what it is that I have to do and I should do. So identifying my task as difficult one, that he doesn't envy my job, means that he is equally, as he has always assured, prepared to be by you and to stand with you to make sure that you succeed. Because the whole agenda of His Excellency John Dramani Mahamad's governance is to reset and succeed. We have to reset the country and succeed. So he's not going to leave any sector out. And so it was, you may say it's frightening. That, yes, was frightening because when you got nominated, that was the news everywhere that, hey, this is a ministry of mafias, they do all kinds of things and so on and so forth. Can you survive? I said, well, it is a ministry in Ghana, and there are Ghanaians who are there. If you come into a place and you are already being warned, people are so concerned, it means that you must take your guard and be extra careful as to how you go about stuff. But to have your appointor, His Excellency the President himself, says he doesn't envy your job, means that he appreciates what it is that you're going into. And so rather than make me feel sad, I think it gave me a lot more joy and encouraged me to move on there and face the challenge and deal with it.
There's a 4-year mandate for you and your government. I want to find out from you, what do you intend to personally achieve with this ministry, tailored in with the president's vision for sports and recreation?
Well, let me take away personally, because it's not about a personal job. I want to see the government succeeds in many fronts as far as sports and recreation is concerned. One, the objective is to see to it that you now will be participating at the world level. For example, many of our athletes are no longer either participating or even winning anything when they do. Boxing, which used to be another glory sports for this country, now no more produces anything. Our boxers go there, and sometimes first round, second round, they are out. They are knocked down and they can't even do anything. But same is about our football, which is the passion of the nation. I think not much can be talked about it. The last time we featured at AFCON, we couldn't even win a match, and we have to pack back home. Now, currently, soon in December, when Africa assembles, at the top level, the elite football level, Ghana will not be featuring. Our flag will not be flying for the first time in many years, which is not a good story for our football. And this is not happening only to the very senior teams. Even at the junior level, where we used to celebrate so much, not much is really happening there. So we're not in good form at all. And the intentions and the wishes of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is to turn the story around to the positive, where we used to be. So I want to see that in 4 years' time, we have put in place structures that would have driven us in that line. The reasons we have not done this well are known. And what are the solutions? The solutions are not quick fixes. You cannot do quick fixes with sports. You have to intentionally plan and work at it. Some of it, you will not get the results immediately. It's like if you are confronted with food challenges. Short term, you can say you are importing to knock off the hunger a bit. But the long term is to be able to cultivate. That takes quite some time. Sports, we cannot import from any other place to come and just win laurels. We need to begin to train them, we need to strengthen them, and we need to make sure that they are available to perform for us. So investment in grassroots sports, where the talent will be spotted, and sustained training. It's not like you spot them, then you just leave them. There must be a sustained program to assess them to train. So this will mean that providing facilities. And we should not just be constructing facilities, but every facility we construct must come with a management board that manages these facilities so that the facilities will serve the purpose for which it was constructed. So you construct a stadium and just leave it there. You don't utilize it in a way that, one, it can even generate revenue for part of which will be used to work on and to turn them around. It's not a good thing to do. So the existing infrastructure and the new ones that will be done, we will make sure it's properly managed such that we can get the best out of it. We are going to have a circle of support, like from one Olympics competition to the next. So if we go this year or we identify persons, we will not just wait a year or two before we start some serious training. It must be proper, appropriate investment in an athlete who will train from one Olympic to another Olympic.
Sure.
That is the only way that you can produce persons who will perform. So we want to achieve all these in 4 years, which may not be enough, but at least we would have set an agenda towards doing that. I.e., we promise that we must establish a university to be able to train the professionals who will help these talents. Because if the talent exists and you do not have the human resource to train the talent cannot reach higher heights. These days that even some countries are employing what we call artificial intelligence in aiding their sporting activities. We cannot be relying on maybe former practitioners of the sport to help out when they themselves have not been properly even trained as to how to teach the sport. So the idea of establishing a university that is for sports is something that will work within these 4 years to achieve. We are going to do that so we can begin to train professionals in various fields, whether it is sports medicine, whether it is sports nutrition, whether it is sports management, and as a business, its promotion, its development. All these must be properly studied.
Right.
So we don't just rely on former players or former athletes to fill in the gap. So this we intend to do.
So this is a follow-up question to your answer to the previous one. In all of this, where does the Winneba Sports College come into this vision?
Well, the Winneba Sports College, as we indicated, is the college that we will be turning into the university. So we will have to go into proper innovation and addition of what? other facilities that may not be present. Because the good thing is that the Winneba Sports College has huge land. So it makes it easier to turn it into a university with allied campuses. So one of the facilities I have observed could serve another purpose is the Botheman sports facility that was constructed for the All-African Games. We will seek to add what does not exist there so that it becomes another satellite campus. Again, we will link up with other areas. Of course, most of our universities already have sports departments. The University of Health and Allied Sciences have sports science department that is in Ho. We will collaborate with them. University of Education, Winneba, equally have a solid sports unit that deals with PE and physical education and what have you. You come to University of Ghana, they have same. Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology also have same. So we'll be collaborating with all these tertiary institutions also to aid the processes that government will be leading in.
Right. So this leads me to the president's decision to decouple youth from sports and introduce recreation. I want to find out from you, to the ordinary Ghanaian, how do you explain to them the nexus between sports and recreation?
Well, they are same, except that some sports, when we say recreation just means that a sport that is done for its inclusivity and its enjoyment, not necessarily for the competitive and the excellence of it. So a competitive sport, a sport that is done for its excellence, can also be recreational. For example, we all know football. Football is a sport that is done for its competitive nature and the excellence of it. Right. But then, same football can also be a recreational sport. Other people can just go. Not too long ago, you had Parliament establish a team to play against the old players. It was football we were playing on at the Accra Sports Stadium, but it was for the recreational aspect of it. It's for its inclusivity, it's for its enjoyment, not for its competitive nature. So they are in one way or the other connected. The recreational part will be more of getting mass participation, huge numbers participation, not because you are doing it for competition, not because you are doing it for the excellence of it, but it could also help in terms of health. There are so many non-communicable diseases today that affects even younger persons. Maybe because of our foods, maybe because of the way we prepare them, maybe because of the way we store our foods and what have you, because of maybe other chemicals that we use on our food. So we need to be a bit more active in order to reduce the effect that some of these things will have on us. So if we can get mass participation, more people being involved in recreational sports, then it will help us reduce our health bill and even increase productivity because less people will be sick of non-communicable diseases. So the intentions of the president is for us to increase attention on recreational sports. I believe that that's why the youth, which also needed special attention, because in this country, the youth forms the bulk of the population. The highest percentage of class of persons are in the youthful category. So you cannot have them being added to the sports, which is also another key area that needs special attention. So in the president's mind, if we separate them and pay proper attention to each of them, it will help. And for sports, adding recreation was the best thing to have to do. So we are going to work and to make, maybe this will help us team up with the local government ministry to preserve many of our parks and also our gardens that will aid the recreational activities that my ministry will be pushing and be involved in. Of course, we are not going to leave out school sports, even though school sports generally is to serve as grassroots levels of talent identification. It can also serve as a basis and platform for pushing a lot more recreational
Right.
sports also. So we'll be doing a lot in that direction.
That's a fantastic submission. Now to my next. Football is regarded as the most popular sport in Ghana. But for the ordinary Ghanaian, football is not popular in Ghana for the ordinary Ghanaian because of the influx of foreign leagues. I'm sure even in your constituency, you go there and you find the youth talking about European football, foreign football. What role does the state have in ensuring that there's more interest in the local game? And this is not Black Stars related.
Well, you see, what gives me joy is that it is not that Ghanaians don't love football. They love it, but they have focused their attention, like you said, foreign football more than the local. So it means you have a good number of persons who love that sport there. So what you need to do is some levels of what? Engagement, promotion. That is why I earlier talked about the need to establish the university. What is that university going to do? It's going to train persons in various fields for sports development, sports promotion, sports marketing, and what have you. These are things that we need to do. Once we do that, there's a way to generate interest. It used to be there. Then it left us. What made people to develop so much interest in the EPLs and then the UEFAs and then what have you? And even now today, you see them driving towards Arabian League and
Saudi
even
Pro League.
China and so on and so forth and all kinds of things. So we have the people there. All we need is to have the experts to drive the process. And so we are going to be doing that. One other area that we will have to look at is also financing sports. Sports need so much. Whilst it brings a lot, it needs so much to be able to bring the lot that it brings. And so we need to begin to engage the corporates to put money into sports. And I believe that the interest His Excellency the President have shown will help in getting the corporates into the sports space, so that if they can support, if they can help fund it, it will go a long way to help all of us. It will help the corporate industry and it will help the country as a whole. Because as we build more talents, as we bring them up to professional level, then the league become interesting. Some of them, of course, will find space to go and play in Europe and other areas.
Right.
They will make some money also. They will bring back some of it, which will be plowed into the economy again, leading to the GDP or contribution of sports to GDP going even higher.
Right. I'm sure you must have witnessed this growing up. There were grounds scattered all over neighborhoods where kids could go and play and express themselves in whatever sport that they were interested in. But as we speak, right from the basic to the primary schools, all lands have been taken away by encroachers. How do you intend to bring back physical education as a mainstay on the timetables, especially if you have collaborated with the education ministry and all that?
You've asked a very important question. I have actually engaged my senior colleague, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, who is the Minister for Education, and our discussion centered on school sports, how together with his ministry, we're going to collaborate to make sure the teaching of the sport and the practice of the sport goes in tandem. Whilst the Ministry of Sports will be responsible for the practice of the sport at the school levels, the Ministry of Education through Ghana Education Service will continue to offer the teaching of the sport, that's the physical education part of the sport. So we will be collaborating. Space has always been a challenge, and I know that it will remain a challenge, but we will try as much as possible to involve the community leaders, the chiefs and the opinion leaders, the chiefs who are owners of the lands, and then families who are owners of the lands, to make sure that in an attempt to get back, to benefit from what rightfully belongs to them, they must also know that collectively the community must survive and live beyond just them. So you don't sell every space and sell even community parks that would be used by the community for some of these activities. So it's collaborating with local government ministry, where now we have the chieftaincy and religious affairs added to, and then of course lands ministry, education ministry, all of us, tourism ministry, together will play roles to make sure that we protect what is there now and see how we can reclaim what has been lost.
Right. Now, let me move on to a very sensitive agency under your ministry, the National Sports Authority. How do you see the NSA's role in this agenda of the NDC and President Mahama? And you have any plans to make them more responsive to the needs of sports and development nationally? Then I also ask, the facilities they manage are primarily substandards, very negatively managed, and it's either they don't break even or they don't even make profit with the activities they use the facilities for. How do you intend to make the NSA work again to ensure the ministry have a smooth sailing in the next 4 years?
I think you have summarized the NSA in its current state in this one question that you have asked in many phases. And that is why we must make the NSA work again. And NSA is more like a bridge between the ministry and the sports, the association, the federation. So if the NSA is not functioning properly, then whatever policy initiative that emanates from this ministry cannot get to those who are supposed to practice it. And that is why the NSA must be made very functional. So whoever will get the opportunity to head the NSA and whoever will serve either on the board of the National Sports Authority must be people who are ready and determined to work very hard to turn our sports around. It's not a good story. We don't expect the NSA or for the facilities that they manage, all of it to be making profit. But at least generate minimal revenue that you can even plow back to maintain those facilities. Most of the facilities, as you rightly said, are in a very sorry state, very, very sorry state, and it's unpardonable. And going into the future, we would make sure that we don't have facilities deteriorate to the level that has happened to most of the NSA managed facilities in this country. That
right.
Every facility that we construct, we must make sure we have a management board in place. We run it in such a way that maintenance will be regular, so it doesn't deteriorate to the point that even sometimes where we get our stadia being banned for international competitions because the pitch is not good and many other facilities are not good.
In the last 8 years, your predecessors, the Honorable Esiama and the Honorable Yusuf, always gave us an impression that there was a maintenance manual for the various national stadia. But in the last 8 years, the state of the stadia tells us that it was only a story, but it was non-existent. Would you promise Ghanaians that under your watch, our national facilities will be in good shape?
Well, a lot of money has gone into some of these facility maintenance. So of interest to me is to find out whether truly the amounts that are being quoted went into the maintenance of those facilities. Because you see, if you don't check those things and you decide to just mobilize the resources and put it, it will the same thing it will repeat itself. So first and foremost, one must check why this state. Go to the hockey pitch in Accra here, not far from the ministry here, and see estates. If you are told that that's a facility that almost about 20 million has been spent, paid to a contractor, and nothing has happened, you can't believe it. You go to the Accra Sports Stadium, if you are told amount of monies that is, say, was spent in 2021 to renovate that facility, and you find it in this sorry state, you can't. So really we want to go into investigate all those matters and to find out whether truly anything was done. And if it was done, what material was used. But I can assure you that we cannot leave our facilities to continue to deteriorate the way it has happened. We are a sporting nation. We are a nation that have some sports that we are particularly interested in, and we must make sure that we maintain facilities to allow those sports to continue to grow. Because look, sports bring a lot. It brings a lot, a lot. There are many countries that have raised their GDP so high because of sports, and so that is what we must look at. But the only thing is that sports needs support to be able to bring the lot that it has to bring.
Well, your appointment and your subsequent interviews seem to have brought a lot of joy to many federations, because you've spoken about the fact that you are a minister for all sports and not just football. Now, my question, how do you intend to ensure that these federations are licensed and they have a sustainable source of funding for their various activities?
Well, first and foremost, there's a licensing regime in our Sports Act, which was passed in 2016. There's a licensing regime for various sports. All we have to do is to make sure that the National Sports Authority applies these licensing regimes as designed in the Act, and also the regulation that is backing the Act. So they just must be disciplined and apply it to letter. Then you ask, in terms of funding, we need to really do reclassification and recategorization of our sports, the various federations.
Can you break that down?
We cannot, currently we have more than 50 federations and associations, that are all kinds of sports. And everybody is competing for the little that is there. So we need to recategorize them and see, maybe we have some in category A. The category A are those that you know are well organized, they have well corporate governance structure, they are well structured from the grassroots level all the way up. For example, if you take our football, it's very well structured, whether it is the Division 1s, the Division 2s, or the Premier League, it's very well organized. So we have all that in place. So we must make sure that we do same for all the other sports. So one recategorization will enable us take something like boxing, take something like athletics, take something like beach soccer and what have you. Possibly in recent time, arm wrestling have also joined and winning a lot of laurels and medals for us. So let's look at these ones and put them in category A, because they have the potential to win medals at the international level. Then you come to the next category, which have potential to win medals and laurels for you at the continental level. So they will operate at the continental level. And then the rest are just national sports or local level for recreational purposes. Once you pay some eye for those with potential to grow and also get to the continental level. So we don't treat all of them same. So the little we have, we'll see how to invest. Of course, we will be making savings in some big ticket items or big ticket sporting items also. And that will enable us plus some of these back into the other less financed sports after the categorization. So much goes into our soccer, especially our national team. Some of it we can cut back and make some savings. And I believe, like I said before, I would keep repeating that we will have engagement with the management, those who manage our sports for us, especially the football administration people, the FA, and all other related persons, to see where we can cut. And we must all agree that there's a need for cutting. Ghanaian says, the team is ours, we've given it for you to manage. We think that A, B, C, D we do not like. So let's sit and see where we can cut and be able to still perform and perform so well. So let's cut from here and put into other areas. When we have grown our sports appropriately, we could get back to supporting the bigger ones that brings so much to us.
Well, I'll be moving into the Black Stars very soon, but one key message from President Mahama during the campaign that the youth bought into was the cancellation of the betting tax. When are we going to see the cancellation, Honorable Minister?
Well, we made it very clear that in about 120 days, it's part of our 120 days achievement, because that would have been the time we would have been able to present our own budget or policy statement to Parliament for approval. Currently, it is what the previous administration presented that we are utilizing. I'm told by the end of February, the president will be in Parliament to address the nation. That's State of the Nation address. Immediately after that, the finance minister, on the authority of the president, will present the budget for 2025. And in that budget, we will witness the cancellation of betting tax on the winnings.
Yes. So that brings into mind a question about this very answer you gave me. In one of the interviews that you granted, you made a point about the fact that betting taxes would be used for sports development, but it was misconstrued, and people felt that it was the taxes on the winnings you were talking about. So can you clarify that
we
now?
We made a promise that the betting tax, as it was called, limited to the winnings, is going to go off, and it's going to go off. But every stake, even if you spend 20 CD to stake, that 20 CD that you are staking, there's a tax on it that the company pays. My argument is that in the sports fund we intend to establish, a percentage of that stake, the tax on the stake, be put in the sports fund purposely for sport.
Right. That's well clarified.
That's what I'm talking about. Not the winnings. Whether you win or not, every stake that you make, there's a tax.
The investors were not happy when they heard about what you said. They thought, well, you're going to take that money from their winnings.
Oh, no. Every stake, there's a tax. And it is that tax that I want to convince the cabinet that a percentage of it be set aside and placed in the sport fund. So the sports ministry will not all the time have to go and queue and be asking for funds from the consolidated fund. So it is a project that I am going to be convincing the cabinet,
right,
the president, that let's buy into this. So if it is 10 CD that is coming to the state,
it should go to the sports fund.
Maybe a percentage of that 10 CD should go to the sports fund.
Right. That's brilliant.
That is not going to come from the winnings, tax of winnings, or
the people that have won the bet.
Even the people who run the lotteries,
okay,
their component. If they want to, we will also have a way of getting them to also contribute. Because apart from the tax they are paying, they are also benefiting from the sport.
Right.
So they must also have a way of contributing to the sport fund. And of course, another source will be for us to have a sports lottery. That is something that many persons have spoken about, and I believe that we must work on to make sure that we have a sports lottery that where all the benefits, all the revenue that comes would go into the sports fund.
Several ministers who have occupied your position have spoken about the inadequate budget for the ministry. I remember vividly during your vetting, the immediate past minister asked you that question. Do you think these ideas you have with external raising of funds ensure that you are able to at least get something to top up with the budget that the government gives you?
Well, the intention is to be able to start something. Even if it doesn't fully materialize in my tenure where I will benefit, a future sports and recreation minister should not come and suffer what I may be going through initially. It is my hope that this will start, and even if I don't benefit from it, any future sports minister should be able to have that type of fund supporting sports. Look, education has a fund, GET fund, supporting education, which is good. Health has health insurance levy and fund that supports health. Sports is what can reduce, if we really promote it, it can reduce your health bill. You will have more healthy people, but we don't have a fund for something that can help you reduce the health issues. But we have a fund to deal with something that could occur if you do less in terms of sports. So for me, it is important to have a fund that, which when used very well, will help reduce your health bill and will increase your GDP, because you'll be producing more healthier people. Aside that, you'll be producing professionals who will play home and abroad and earn money and invest this back at home, and that will raise your GDP.
Well, let me also find out from you. Yesterday was your first working day after you were sworn in, and there was a meeting between yourself and the Football Association. What necessitated for this meeting? What were the key points, and did you achieve your objective of meeting them?
Well, we all are aware what we've been talking about recently about hooliganism and what happened between the Asante Kotoko and Swatreman FC at Swatre when they went there for one of their league matches, which resulted in the stabbing to death of a Kotoko fan, Nana Pole. So we thought it necessary to invite the FA for us to have engagement on, so far, what has happened, steps they have taken, and what we can do collaboratively together to improve upon our stadium security, to make sure that if we are resuming the league, we will not resume the league in the same manner that it was being done before this incident. So I must say that, well, there was some level of agreement. We have agreed to establish a team to go round and reassess the venues that is being used for the Premier League, and to see which ones meet standards and which doesn't meet standard at all. We have looked at security improvement. Some clubs were actually requesting for participation of military, if it is category A or even B matches, but you know, we assure them that the police is capable enough. Now we have formed police unit, which is really very capable of doing anything that the military does. So as much as possible, we would want the police to lead where it becomes necessary based on national security analysis of various matches. In any case, for category A matches, it is national security that is in charge. That's in charge. So it is category B and then C that usually sometimes have issues. But even this one, there is a promise to increase the presence of the security and what they do. I believe that the promise to have police officers at the high-ranking level at each of the regions responsible for sports, which I'm told has been done. They have been appointed by the IG himself, is something that is good and comforting. So to a large extent, yes, we achieved that single item agenda of our meeting yesterday. But there are other things that Ghanaians are also equally also interested in, which we will be meeting and having engagement later.
From our initial conversation, it's an undeniable fact that the Black Stars of Ghana have lost its glory, not only on the continent, but globally. How do you intend to restore the glory of the Black Stars and also ensure the authority of the state in the activities of the Black Stars?
Well, I can assure you that the playing body itself is aware that they are no more celebrated the way we were celebrated. So that itself is also a challenge to them. But as I always indicate, engagement is for me the way to go. If the awareness is created, if what they need, we have to sit with the playing body and to really find out what it is that makes them perform so well at the club levels, and what is it that makes them perform so poorly at the national level when they are called upon. Then we will take it from there and deal with the situation. And we'll be looking at the technical bench also. We are not going to leave that out. We will have to look at it. So based on all the analysis that we will have, we will be taking decisions that will bring our football, especially the Black Stars, back to its glory days. We can't continue celebrating. We were the first country to win four times in 82. Since then, we haven't this. It can't continue that way. We must be able to celebrate something now.
How dear is the qualification to the World Cup in 2026 to the heart of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama?
How dear is it to you?
I want to go.
You want to go?
Yeah.
So everybody wants to go, including the president. We all want to go. We all want to go. So whatever we'll have to do, we will do. And we will continue to pray. Let's all of us put our positive hearts towards that. So we will qualify for the World Cup.
Finally, some have said, Kofi Adams, Kofi Adams, consult you. Hey, any so any normal to say previous ministers? No. What kind of sports minister are you going to be?
Well, I'm someone who consults a lot, but I take decisions. I always space my time. I have time for consultation. Immediately consultation time is over, it gets to decision time, I take decisions. I don't do consultations during decision time. So I'm that type of person. I consult very well, I consult broadly, I listen to experts, and so that when I'm taking a decision, I know that I'm taking the right decision. I'm always driven by data. So we're going to make sure that research works. So the research officer for the ministry, I've been particularly interested about his work, and we're going to rely on research a lot. And I'm going to really get teams to support that unit to make sure that we do a lot of research. And data must drive our decisions that we make in this ministry.
Now, from all indication, you are not going to be a biased sports minister towards any discipline, but we've got some disciplines who win laurels, the beach soccer, triathlon, with very tight budgets. Are you going to pay special attention to these disciplines?
Well, I have said that we will look at what we have and see who we can help in this circumstance. But we are going to be working towards raising a lot of funds. And once we succeed in the introduction of the corporates and using other models to raise funds, all these other less financed sports would also benefit from our budget. Like I always put it, we don't have anything like less known sports. We only are less financing them. If we fund them more, they would also be known. It is when you don't fund them, that's when they are not really known. But we will do categorization. We will recategorize our sports and put them into A, B, C, and possibly D to make sure that those who have the potential already to win at the higher level are giving more than those who should just be for recreational purposes. We can't be spending huge sums of money on a sport that is for recreational at this stage at the world level. That will, because there's a certain competition and we have registered an association here, give us money to buy tickets and spend on accommodation for us to also go there. When you know truly well that there's no way they can even go beyond the group stages of the competition or the first trials, we are not going to be wasting money that way. So we would spend such monies where we know that there's a potential to be able to bring something back home in terms of medals.
It's been a privilege talking to you and giving us audience to your office. As the best sports station in Ghana, Max TV, want to give you the assurance of our management and the sports team of our unflinching support towards your vision and that of the president in the next 4 years.
Thank you for this assurance. I know we can only grow with the support of the media. If we don't get the support of sports media, we cannot reach where we want to reach. And I'm happy that you are giving us your platform for us to collaborate together and see how we can help develop our sports. We appreciate this time that you have always been giving us.
It's a pleasure, Honorable.